Good morning, Illini. Welcome back. I'm Matt Schrock, your host here for Healthy Illini Podcast, and we're glad you're with us. We're glad you're listening in. Hope your fall is going well. The weather is changing a little bit, and it's football season and getting ready to be sweater weather and campfires and all those kinds of things coming up. So we're excited you're tuning in, excited that you're taking a moment just to join us in this journey. And we talk about a lot of topics here on Healthy Illini, a lot of things that have to do with your health and well-being. And this is one that we've talked about before, but we're going to come back to, especially for UIUC students, and share a little bit, kind of inform you, help educate you, and that is about student insurance. And I'm joined today by two guests that have particular insight into that area. The first is Nick Chancellor. He is our Assistant Director of Program Support and also the Assistant Director over Student Insurance here at UIUC. So Nick, thanks for being on the program again.
Thanks for having me.
And we're also joined by a student, a returning guest, Jasmine Finley, who is part of our Student Health Insurance Advisory Committee. She was co-chair last year, possibility of co-chair this year. We haven't voted on that yet, but she's come back to kind of share a little bit about her experience. And Jasmine, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.
So Nick, I'm going to start with you. And as we've talked a lot about student insurance, and you are passionate about it, which for some people that's kind of weird to hear, being passionate about insurance, but you're passionate about student insurance. And really, you're passionate about it not because of the coverage, you're passionate about what it does, but more about the idea of educating, especially because we have, young adults who are first-time consumers of healthcare, who are kind of first-time stepping out on their own and figuring out what's going on. And, you and I have been around longer than the students that are here on campus. And we still have moments where we're like, what is this? Insurance is a monster. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of information, a lot of nuance. So while we're talking about what kind of coverage it gives, but how do you try and educate? What does it mean to educate someone in how to use insurance and how to be a consumer of health insurance?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we start with, and oftentimes we're starting with the parents truly, right? We want everybody to know that our purpose in our office is to make sure you're insured. It's not to make sure that you're buying the coverage that we offer through United Healthcare, so to make sure you're insured and that you're safe while you're here on campus. We have a 50-mile radius to make sure that you are going to have the care that you need here. That's both urgent and emergent care, but also general care. I mean, students are here for a good chunk of their 4-year career or longer, and we need to make sure they can get those services they need here. Many people will say, I can go home and get that on my break. Sure you can, but what if you choose to study abroad? What if you choose to stay here and maintain classes? We need to make sure you've got that coverage here so we can take care of you here. The other thing that we really try to impress upon people is making sure they understand that insurance is designed for really two things now. One is obviously for the emergency stuff, right? That's really critical. But it's also a little bit of how I've termed it as prepaid medical, right? How do we take care of ourselves on a regular recurring basis to make sure we maintain the health that we have and not so much trying to take care of injuries or diseases that come through? So with that, we always want to try to reinforce to students to go ahead and use their insurance as necessary, but that also means figuring out what other tools are available to you. So when we talk to parents, we talk to students in orientations, we always talk about at Illinois, you start your healthcare journey at McKinley. The reason being is it's a totally separate fee that once you're enrolled in the credits, you can't waive out of the McKinley fee. But for that fee, you get a copious amount of medical care. You get excellent pharmaceutical services, all for a very low cost that doesn't go to your insurance. And it's not that it doesn't go to your United coverage that we provide. It doesn't go to your insurance at all because McKinley doesn't take insurance. So we try to get everybody to understand if you leverage that, you don't even tap into those insurance benefits. That helps keep your premium costs down because those insurance expenses are down. And that's really our first wave of education we go.
And then there's also a part we're going to get to here in a minute. And I want to talk to Jasmine a little bit about that, but I'm going to touch on it real quick, is that idea of cost effectiveness with your insurance, that you can kind of mix and match a little bit of your care based on what you have coverage and what you have available and things like that. And so that's another part of the educating, because a lot of things, it's just like anything on campus, because there's so much information. We're such a huge campus. There's so much opportunity, and you get blasted with all of it in Welcome Week, Quad Day and the Line of Frenzy and all these kinds of things. You get so much information that a lot of it, it's hard to retain it all. It's impossible to retain it all. And so there are things that you have, but then things that you're not aware that are available through McKinley or through insurance. And there's one piece that I know that you've been making a big push, and McKinley and the campus have been making a big push on as an aspect of United Healthcare. And again, we're talking specifically in this moment for anyone who has that particular coverage, but mental health services
Absolutely.
Is something that is a huge topic, a very important thing, something everyone's focused on. what does United Healthcare offer to university students through that plan that students may not be aware of?
Absolutely. Well, let's step back and talk about what mental health services provide on campus. So when we start talking about individuals who have, and go basic, right? Now, go anxiety, go depression, right? Those are easy ones to talk about. You have those. If you come to McKinley, you go to the counseling center. It's a brief model that they have, right? So you can only get like 4 to 6 visits before they really need to put you in touch with a local or community-based therapist in order to continue whatever longer-term care you need. One of the great options United has built into the plan is something they call Healthiest You through Teladoc. Healthiest You is nothing more than a telemedicine service. So there's physical medicine as well. But when it comes to mental health care, the great thing about it is students can access this through an app 24/7, 365 at no additional cost. So what that means is once you're done with your brief care here or at the counseling center, McKinley or the counseling center, you can actually then start to leverage that Teladoc service so that you don't have another copay. You're not tapping into those insurance benefits. Circling back to, again, you want to use McKinley first because you've already paid for that. You don't have an additional cost. You're not expending those insurance premium dollars. Same situation, right? It's going to cost you nothing else. It's something you can take everywhere. You can use Teladoc here on campus. You can use Teladoc at home, wherever that may be. Or as I always like to say, if we're going to take spring break in Southern California, we can use it there too, right? So you can use it anywhere in the United States. It does not travel abroad for Teladoc. But that's a great service to have literally in your back pocket anytime you need it.
And if somebody is listening, they are on the United Healthcare plan, how would they find access to that? I know you said there's an app. Is it something they can look up? Is there other way you can find?
Right now, if you hop onto our website, SI for studentinsurance.illinois.edu, scroll down to about the middle of the page, and it's actually right there. We're blasting Healthiest You on the front page. Otherwise, if you go to benefits, there is a telehealth benefit within the benefits tab at the top that'll link you up to it as well.
We're going to circle back to the website in a minute because there's some things there I want to just highlight. But before we do that, I do want to bring Jasmine into the conversation a little bit. One of the things that you said, Nick, was that come to McKinley first because you already have those services paid for. You already have them available. We talked about it before. If you come to any McKinley outreach thing we talk about, any student insurance thing we talk about it, that McKinley is not insurance. We don't take insurance. You're not covered by insurance. If you're a student at UIUC, you are eligible. If you're a full-time student, you are eligible to come to McKinley. And that's the distinction. We only serve the UIUC student population. You're only allowed to come here if you're a student. And so that's already covered by tuition and fees. And because of that, you can come be seen, and it's not going to cost you anything. We're not going to charge a copay. We're not going to bill insurance if you come see a provider. There are some things like a few immunizations and pharmacy things that you do have to pay for, a small copay or insurance, but generally be seen by a provider. You don't have to pay for that. So Jasmine, you're a student here on campus. You've been here a little while now, and so you do have access to McKinley Health Center. But I also know that you have some experience in kind of balancing what you use McKinley for and what you use your personal insurance for. So would you share just a little bit about how you approach that kind of idea when it comes to taking care of your health care?
Yeah, of course. So I think it's just really important to note that McKinley Health Center is covered by tuition and fees, so there's no copay to be seen and no deductible, which is super nice. There's definitely a lot that McKinley Health Center cannot provide, but there's so much that they can do for us. And so what they can't provide for, it's really important that we use insurance for. I know last year I took a pretty bad fall and my knee was hurting pretty bad, so I was like, I'll go see McKinley Health Center. And I did, and I came, and they were able to refer me then out to Carl, which was super nice to get that like specialized referral and understand the care that I need taken care of. I think it's obvious that like some aspects of whether between like serious, if you need to go see like the emergency room, then obviously like take a turn there. But for things like I visited McKinley Health Center several times without using my insurance, for things like a cold or if I need to get blood work done or mental health stuff. So it's super important to use. And I think it's just good to find the balance between what you use McKinley Health Center for and what you use your insurance for outside of it.
And you can find, if you go to our website, mckinley.illinois.edu, and all these websites and these references will be in the bio of this episode, so you can find it there, real simple. You can follow up with it that way. But if you go to our website, you'll see a list of what our services are, and you can most of it's primary care type things. You come get a checkup, or you have a question, you're just not feeling well, kind of in general. You need lab work, you need an X-ray, pharmacy, things like that. You can do that. If you ever have a question and you're like, I feel like I need this kind of care, can I get it at McKinley? Go to the website and get on the chat bot. type it in and say, what's available, or give us a call and say, hey, what can I get this kind of service here? And it may be, like you said, Jasmine, maybe where we say, we can't provide that service, but we can give you a referral. Because sometimes I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of those specialized care type situations or a provider like that, you have to have a referral. And if you don't have, you go to them, they're going to say you have to referral. Then if you try and do it through them, then you're going to have copay and insurance, all those kinds of things, where we are very well versed with the specialized care in the area, with referral process. We can help walk you through that, because again, just like I said with Nick earlier with insurance, it's daunting. If you've never done it and your first time stepping into it, it's tough. And so we're here to help walk you through some of those things. And so just take advantage of that. Okay, Jasmine, I do want to ask you this as well. Just as in your personal experience, from when you first came to McKinley, whether it be as a patient or as part of the Student Health Insurance Advisory Committee, to where you are now, do you feel like you've learned a whole lot more about what we do here?
Oh, yes, 100%. I now feel way more comfortable utilizing my through McKinley and my personal insurance as well.
And so I say that point to say, come find out, or ask somebody. Like if you see Jasmine or somebody who's used McKinley and they have experience, ask them, because again, you don't know what you don't know. We've talked a little about the insurance. We talked about, the balance of McKinley and insurance both. Like I said, I wanted to circle back to the website, because education piece is huge. And part of education is having the information accessible. So, Nick, as I know we're still revamping, we're constantly revamping, constantly trying to move forward. But I know you've made some pretty big changes and adjustments to the website to have the information be more accessible. What are some things that you'd like to highlight from the website that students can find, or parents can find when they're trying to find out?
Absolutely. So I think the number one thing, for me to talk about the website is quite literally everything you need foundationally is there. So if you have a question about premiums, you have a question about enrollment dates, you have a question about how to do something when that time comes, it's all there. You have to read it, but it's all there. We've taken the time there. If you're looking at the site while you're listening to this, across the top, there's a number of things such as like forms or benefits or things like that. Those drop downs contain everything that you need. So right now, as we're recording this, we're in an enrollment period. So if you're looking to opt in or opt out, that information is there. If you're looking to add a dependent, that information is there. It's a fabulous resource. In addition to that, one of the things that is currently on the website is we actually have a link to United's website, which is available for any student to go look at. And it's a bunch of just general videos about how insurance works. So they'll explain things like copays and deductibles. So if you've never experienced it before, again, to your point, go look at it now, right? If you want to learn about that stuff is there. In the near future, what we're actually going to be doing is hosting some town halls and actually doing some recordings for student insurance from Illinois to give some more explicit information about how some things work. Because we know that there's a lot of questions about how does McKinley operate and what is insurance. So we really want to get some very clear materials to kind of clean that up. But we also want people to understand how the community works as well. Okay, when I say the community, not just this is how insurance works here, but we identify that there are a number of students who come to Illinois who use their parental insurance, who have another insurance plan. And so we want to also be supportive of those students and get them information about how they would utilize their insurance in the community also. So we're really trying to be an all-encompassing office to provide that information so you can go somewhere essentially to get the knowledge that you need to go out and use your insurance more effectively.
One of the things that you kind of mentioned in passing there was, if you want to know, I know we've talked about it. One of the biggest education pieces that we're trying to help students with is being proactive in that gathering information. Because for many of us, I'm just as guilty, like whether it be health insurance or car insurance or whatever, I don't think about my insurance until I either have to pay for it or something happens. And in those moments, like for instance, my daughter had a car accident back in March. And in that moment, all of a sudden I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to contact? What do I need to know about this? And you have all the emotions of everything else that's going on with whatever emergency that may be. And that's tough. Whereas if right now, like you talked about enrollment period, if you're trying to figure out if you're going to opt in or opt out, if you start figuring out the information now, start asking the questions now, being proactive is a huge piece of utilizing your insurance.
Massive piece of it. And truly, to add to that, for our office, we're a very small office. We take care of approximately 45,000 students who are eligible for insurance. I have 2 full-time staff. If you email us, we can email you back. We can exchange dialogue for quite a while if we need to. What we're trying to do is avoid the talking piece only because we don't have the volume to do it. But we're very happy to provide those digital resources right up front and as quickly as possible so you have access to those pieces of information. And again, much like I said, we're going to be developing things on the website. If we know that you need some piece of information that is not on our website, we're not going to say no. We're going to link you to wherever that is, whether it's on campus or off campus, so you have that knowledge.
The other part of that is that if you are proactive and getting ahead of the game, then you can avoid some of those times when there's just a massive influx of people asking questions, like a deadline for opting in, opting out. All of a sudden, the office starts getting swamped with emails, swamped with calls, and you'll get a response. You will get a response. But if you're proactive ahead of it or just kind of consistently trying to work on understanding your insurance, you're going to have fewer questions as you go. It's going to give you an opportunity to learn more and the office opportunity to interact with you that way.
Absolutely. Well, and honestly, the conversation we have with all the parents, because the parents are usually the ones that ask us these questions, when we talk about the open enrollment period for those that are interested in this, you have the ability to not do anything with your student insurance, and you're automatically enrolled, right? We're going to take care of you. It's not even a question. However, if you don't choose to opt in, meaning accepting that before that deadline, and let's say you need to go to Carl, to the emergency room, for whatever it is, that bill you're liable for. Now, the insurance will cover you. That's not a question. But what ends up happening is then your name is attached to that, and if you have a $10,000 emergency room visit, you're going to get a bill for $10,000. And then you have to take the time to go back to United and resubmit that information and drag yourself through the hassle of that. Whereas if you opt in up front, to your point, be proactive and start to take advantage of these things and start to learn what you've got, all of a sudden you have that same situation occur. It's going straight to United and you won't worry about it. You'll pay your emergency room copay, you'll pay your deductible, and you'll move on. So it's really a benefit to student to be as proactive as you can. And we're not talking like hours upon hours talking to student insurance or reading the website. We're talking take 5-10 minutes and just familiarize yourself with some stuff. And a soft plug for me, I'm sending each of you 7 emails when the classes start for the first 6 weeks. It literally says activate or opt out today. Please, I mean, literally take a second. I know you're flooded with emails, but you're talking about a 10-minute investment in your time to reduce all this hassle for yourself if something does happen to you.
And those little investments add up because, Jasmine, I remember when I first met you about a year ago or something like that. And when I would ask you a question about insurance, your eyes would kind of get real wide and you kind of stop. Now you're past that. And obviously you'll admit it too. You don't know everything about insurance. I mean, I don't know everything about insurance, but the knowledge that you've gained along the way, do you feel like that's giving you peace of mind and giving you some confidence when you do have to do something with your healthcare?
Oh yes, I definitely feel a lot more confident. And as you were mentioning, like the flooding of emails, honestly, I find that since I do have so many emails come in as a student and I'm very involved, I find that super helpful. I remember getting the third email. I was like, oh, this is your third reminder to opt in or opt out. And that's whenever I was like, oh, I should get onto that because it's a helpful reminder to get that. And the opting out process that I took was super, super simple and easy to navigate. So I was really thankful, but definitely feel a lot more confident because like you said, my eyes, I would be like, oh. But now I'm feeling a lot better about the whole situation.
Yeah, and you can just see the confidence on you. And so that's kind of just an encouragement to anybody listening that because insurance is daunting, it is. Healthcare is daunting, but taking those little steps can add up. And before you even know it, all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I can do some of this stuff. And you can start to make decisions. You can start to know what you're looking for, like what you need in healthcare, what you're comfortable with in healthcare, how you approach it. And you can make those steps. And again, doing it here at UIUC, you have people here at McKinley in the Student Health Insurance Office who want to help you move forward, who want to help guide you in that. And we want to answer the questions. We want to help figure it out and instill confidence because every person that we can help instill that confidence and that understanding is one less person that is frantic whenever things do happen. And that's a benefit to everybody. So, there's so much more we could talk about as far as insurance. It's a huge thing. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not a student. I'm quite past that initial freshman, 18, 19-year-old age, but there's still things I'm learning about insurance. There's still things I'm trying to figure out. And so just really encourage everyone to start taking ownership of that, start learning about it, reach out. But this has been a great conversation to start, a great way to kind of open the door to some of that sort of thing. So I just want to say, Nick and Jasmine, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. I really appreciated it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
There are so many aspects to health and wellness that we focus on. There's so many aspects to consider. And one of the things that is really important to be cognizant of is insurance, how it works, what you have available to you. And if you're a student at UIUC, you have McKinley Health Center, which we can provide a lot of services without having to include insurance. But there are some things that insurance would be needed for in your life. And we want to try and help educate, help guide you so that when you do have to make decisions, when something does happen and you have to call upon that insurance, that you're in a place where you feel prepared or you feel like you have an idea of what's going on. And so if you have any questions, if you're uncertain, please give us a call. Please contact us through our website, through the resources below. The student insurance website has a ton of information there that is so vital. There's options there that you may not know about, like Healthiest You, like we talked about. If you're on the United Healthcare plan, that's something that's available to you. Check it out. See what it is, because knowledge is power, and being proactive gives you an opportunity to make a plan before you need the plan, and that is invaluable. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, you want to give some feedback, please contact us here at Healthy Illini. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to interact with you and help be a part of whatever questions you have and help be a part of the solution or the path going forward. But thank you for joining us today. You're on a personal journey no matter where you are in it. You are important and you matter. Your health and wellness are important and matter, and we are here to keep you well to excel. So go have a great week, Illini. Let us know how you're doing, and we'll catch you next time on Healthy Illini.